Today we're getting tactical with Brent van Esbroeck, our AI product lead at Fight Club, and Rory Flynn, founder of Systematic AI and AI strategist from New York. They are revealing the 5 AI tools that small teams should implement yesterday to triple their output without tripling their headcount. From automation to content creation, they'll break down the exact stack that gives underdogs their unfair advantage. Over to Brent and Rory.
All right. So welcome to Pact, the podcast for Challenger brands. My name is Brent. I'm AI product lead at Fight Club. And today I'm joined by Rory Flynn, AI strategist from the United States. Today we're going to talk about some of the most important AI tools that I think about. So we are going to start with the use case because we had like one client that sadly we can't mention, but we didn't have the resources. So it was like small budget, also a very small team. And in this case, a lot of brands or other companies start thinking about outsourcing, something we at Fight Club, we don't really like because you give away your control and also the quality tends to be lower. Also, my grandmother always says it's better if you do it yourself. Because the quality is good. And so due to this fact, we started leveraging AI, a lot of different tools, also some basic tools that are forgotten quite often. And this tends to give us like more arms and helps us to go even faster without losing this control that we really want. Some tools that we are mainly using, first one is actually a very simple one, but so often forgotten. And this one is ChatGPT in Google Sheets, because you can embed it directly inside of your Google Sheets. It's perfectly for analyzing. You can ask it questions directly in there, and then it gives you the replies.
I couldn't be a better use case for it. First off, your grandmother's a very smart woman, by the way. That should definitely be said first before any answer about AI. But that was probably like one of the first like use cases I found early on with this stuff when ChatGPT initially came out, was just like being able to talk to data as if it was like a person. It's like a whole 360 sort of view of talking to data instead of just having spreadsheets run formulas, right? So that to me is such an important use case. And I always think about it in terms of like, use AI for what AI is really good at, and that's like being a computer. So, analyzing data, looking at it, and it's like, that's something that's very familiar to it. So that's a perfect use case. I think that's probably a good one to say that is often forgotten.
Yeah. It's actually also really cheap to run your scripts directly inside of Google Sheets because you just paste it in as a script and then it's connected with the engine that you are running. You can also use Nano Banana, for example, inside of a spreadsheet. And this way you don't pay extra fees. You just pay the cost directly of the tool itself.
I haven't even done that, and I didn't even know you could do that. So that's kind of an awesome use case that now I have to go and explore and try.
That's really cool.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm also teaching you some stuff.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, I often use it. It's also very easy to implement. And then you just basically do your prompting inside of the tables. And then you just select the specific rows that needs to be outputted. And it bundles everything together to generate stuff in there.
All right. I can see it now. I like, see, this is the great thing about it. There's no one single way to use this stuff.
Yeah.
It's all how you come up with it. It's all problem solving. Whatever you see as being an issue or you're trying to do, there's probably a solution now at this point. So that might steal that one.
Cool. Second one will be N8N.
Okay.
Also very well used. Really important to create agents. It's basically like Zapier, but on steroids. It's way better, way customizable. It's the thing that you're doing in spreadsheets, also a bit like Weavy, a tool that I will jump on the third topic. But here in N8N, you have like a lot of customization. You can add in your own Python scripts. You can connect a lot of tools to do and go through these different steps. So, don't know if you are using this one, N8N, for agents.
I've been playing around with it as of lately. It wasn't something that I was into immediately, but once I think Weavy was sort of like the gateway drug for me there to go and see what I could do.
Yeah.
It was like once I was able to concept what the workflow would look like without having to, honestly for me, not having any developer background, coding background, really like thinking in that sense of like, this goes to this goes to this needs to have like the right system prompt to go here. It's a totally different mindset. But once you learn it all starts to open up and make sense. So once I got in there, I was like, I see how this functions. I see how this is all fun, but I see it as being like an integral piece of our workflows moving forward. It's so powerful. And so I wouldn't say it's just as easy as Zapier if you're used to Zapier, but it's definitely something, if you get your hands on it and spend like a day in there, you can figure it out.
Yeah. So for sure, way more technical than a Zapier. But I think for repetitive tasks, it's really important because it makes you go so much faster. And once you have like the same routine every time, it just continues and you make a loop of the agent and it continues doing its job.
Yeah, I definitely can see the, with one thing in there that I would say, if anyone is jumping into these tools, like I tend to make them way overcomplicated early on, like when I'm first concepting. And then you realize as you start to trim it down, it's like, what's necessary, what's not necessary. Like you think there's a lot of, there might be like 3 extra steps for something that it actually doesn't need that. So, it definitely takes some trial and error, in my opinion, because I'm very novice at it. But I think once you start to play around with it a few times, you realize I'm putting way too much thought into this. It's actually simpler than it needs to be, or than it is.
Yeah, really nice. I also saw like yesterday that OpenAI also now released agent modes. So basically that you can just prompt it and it will make the flow for you, which is way more easy than in N8N because there you need to drag and drop, you need to code, you need to link all your accounts. Here you will just be able to prompt it. You will log in the tools that you want to connect and then it will give the complete flow for you. So also really cool that they are jumping on it and tells that it's a very big deal with a lot of money involved probably and a lot of use cases.
It's crazy how like you start to see the workarounds that people do, and then those workarounds get turned into product, right? Like you see like the MCP style stuff that's been, that's floating around for a while, and it's like, why isn't this just built into tools? And then I'm pretty sure they hear all that feedback and then they just build them in, right? So something like that, again, it just makes so much sense, and it's probably going to be something we all have to then jump on and figure out, okay, it's the easiest way to do it. Can we control it as much as we can control something like N8N? Is it as buggy? Is it buggier than N8N can be? Like, then we always have to be in like this constant state of testing and like seeing what can work and what doesn't work.
Yeah, indeed. Third tool would be Weavy. Also one of my favorites, and I know one of your favorites. I actually learned it thanks to you because I saw it once on LinkedIn. But yeah, Weavy is basically the things that you're doing and can do in N8N or in the spreadsheets. But it's way more visual so that you can see right away, am I going in the right direction? Shouldn't I be tweaking somewhere in my prompt? What should I adjust? I also think it's very cool that you can create apps there, also use automations for really big bulks. Because I think, it's also something that you are saying on your post and what I've seen in your videos is that AI is already far, but not far enough in like 60% good. And you still need to adapt. So that's why bulk is strong because you get a lot of output and then you can pick the best ones and maybe push them forward to someone that do the final tweaks in Photoshop.
100%. Really big fan of Weavy. It's really, the ability to have all the access to all the tools and then play with them in a way that is customizable to you and your own specific needs. And then being able to be super versatile where it's just you can free create in there, or you can go and build a workflow, or you can go and build a batch processor. It's sort of so open-ended. It feels like using like an AI version of what I was hoping Photoshop would be at some point. Even tracking your work back and seeing everything is really, it's great. I think it's really also, for anyone that's interested in really building something on N8N or, these automations or these agents, it's like the precursor to it. So you can like scheme it out and you can really see how everything looks. You can prove out the concept essentially first and then go and do it. So to me, it's easier, less lift than potentially going into N8N for me because, I like to see things. I like to tinker. I need to like do things fast and make quick adjustments. But I can see it as like, yes, this is like the total building block for what comes next. I just think it's like the next version of how everyone's going to be working with these tools because you can use them all and just use whatever works for you. Yeah.
And do you have also experience with how to get the output to, for example, a Google Drive right away from Weavy or to a Figma.
I've been asking for
Yeah.
that from them, just sort of some sort of, in or out of the tool. But as of now, it's mostly just building an app mode and creating all within the app itself and downloading zip and just dropping zip into Figma. So it is an extra step. I wish there was an out there. I have a feeling that's coming. They've been asked for it a lot of times. So
I was also asking for it in the Discord. So this is also really cool that they have like a Discord group with all their developers, also their sales team and such, that you have direct contact with the person behind the tool. So you can request this stuff. Because in my opinion, for this bulk, it's currently still a flaw that you're not able to push it directly to your Google Drive or to a Figma, or even like how we are doing the setups using NA10, that we do the generations and push it directly to a Supabase, and then it will be uploaded to a web page the client can see their visuals on.
It's so much, that would be exceptional.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times what I'm thinking about and what you said in batch processing also, like if you're generating 60 at a time, maybe getting 25, 30 that are good, it's much easier than running one at a time and either one getting frustrated or two getting off task.
Yeah.
But I look at it like we're just applying a different methodology to it. It's like a photo shoot where, if you do a photo shoot for a brand, you don't typically only take 20 photos. You take 200, 300, and then you pick the best ones. Yeah. So it's just giving you options the same way you're used to getting options. But yes, I would like this to get dumped somewhere else. So that it's not just me downloading, dropping into Figma myself. It would be easier if it ported somewhere and I could save it all a little bit more conveniently.
Exactly. Hopefully someone from the Weavy team is listening to this podcast.
I'll make a little text after this.
Yeah, that I would just do, because we actually also really need it for our clients. So it will be a very big game changer if they add this.
Definitely. And also to hit on that fact of them being really open. They are really, it's nice to have a company like that that's really open to feedback, number one, and community focused like they are. They run that Discord really well. They answer really soon. They always take suggestions. They don't have an ego about their product, which I love. It's just like, what do we do to make it better? You guys are the ones using it. Tell us.
Yeah.
So having that direct line of communication with a company is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. And they're also actually really fast with adding new mods to the tool. Like Sora released like 2 days ago, Monday after. It was already in Weavy.
Yes.
Which I really like. Because then you don't need to pay for another tool. You just can keep everything bundled together in one tool and do the experimentation there of the new engines.
It's beautiful. They really are fast. Like I remember Nano Banana when it came out, I think they had it up within like an hour. Yeah. It was like as soon as that API was released in there, I was like, oh, you guys are good. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Really cool. And you also use Weavy for videos. What's your opinion on that? Do you think that's already far enough or still lacking behind from static visuals? Because it's also like 8 to 10 seconds that you can generate, not longer. How do you see it? Is it already the quality good enough to generate in there or not?
I think the videos, depending on what the output is, can be good enough.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something that requires a little less sort of cinematic approach to it, where it's a little quicker hit, it's a little quicker sort of like maybe social content or like paid media, things like that. That stuff I feel like can be automated fairly easily. The prompts aren't going to be so insanely detailed or not going to have so much micro sort of analysis to do with it. So I would say like for certain uses, yes, you can plug and play, go. But if you're trying to shoot like a full commercial in there, and like, I think there's so much nuance to video prompting to get things good. Like the hit rate is low, but also like you really need to focus on little details. And then you also got to bring a little movie magic into it every once in a while too, where it's like I might need to clip a frame out of an 8-second video and then like extract that frame and then use that as a keyframe to do something else. So there's a lot of different ways to go about it. It feels very like, I don't want to say it feels very Hollywood, but a lot of times you are sort of overcompensating for things or patchworking things together to make it work. So it's a creative process, which I like. It's fun in there to work and just sort of branch your ideas and see where things can go.
Yeah, indeed. Can only agree. Like for some use cases, it's already very good, very strong. But in my opinion, for some exceptional use cases, it's even better to just still record it in person. Yeah, it will be cheaper than doing all the iterations and generating it.
I couldn't agree more. I still think it's, a supplement to everything. I think if it's used in the right way, which I've always said that I think there's a right way, a wrong way. I think you look at how everyone in society has sort of reacted to the AI videos. If you're going to use AI, make it blatantly obvious that it's AI.
Yeah.
And I think people will accept it if it's good. If you're trying to mimic reality and you use AI and it's bad, it's a really bad look. So that's sort of my opinion on the whole thing, though. I don't know if everyone else feels that way.
I also see it like that. Yeah, it's true. As a fourth tool, we use 11 Labs quite often. I don't know if you did a lot of experimentation with voice agents there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not directly usable in Weavy, I think, voices.
Little features, not at the breadth of what you can do on their actual website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see. Because we at Fight Club, for one client, we also made a complete AI voice commercial.
Mm.
The moment they uploaded a new magazine to their website, there was written a script, and this script was pushed through like an 11 Labs tool, and it generated automatically a voiceover to announce that magazine, to put it as a radio commercial.
Okay.
So it's actually quite strong, but it also takes a lot of time to train the voices in there. Yeah.
Especially with longer generations on 11 Labs too, the longer you get, the more like sort of glitchy, sort of, the way they say words, or you hear them, and then they like spit it out. I think it's awesome. There's one thing about AI voice right now. It's not a knock on 11 Labs. I think it's a lot of tools. It still just sounds hollow. Like it doesn't have the real tonality and inflection. Like I think everyone touts it as it does, but like you can tell. You can really hear it. What's AI? What's not? I think that's sort of like the next evolution is like when that stops being recognizable for the AI voice. And also it sounds so clean. Like
too clean. Yeah.
It's so clean. It's not a bad thing. It's just we recognize when things sound too perfect or look too perfect.
Yeah.
We're used to imperfection. So, it's sometimes this is like a personal pain point of mine. It's like I want like a little bit of rawness. I want a little scratchiness. Just like something that says that it wasn't, 100% machine made.
That's true.
But again, my own opinion on that.
Yeah, agree. But it's also like on 11 Labs so hard to get the right hook.
Correct.
Because the voice is so flat.
Yeah.
And you don't get any momentum at the beginning. So that's why currently I'm also experimenting like a tool like VO. Because there you can like have them way more excited in the beginning and then drop down their wording at the end.
Because VO listens to inflection. It listens to if you say, it listens to tonality. If they're excited, if they're sad, they change the tonality based on that, which I like having that control, which is why, a lot of times I'll use VO for that exact reason and then just extract the audio. And then, don't even need the video, but I like the way that the audio sounds. And it also has depth in the audio, which is something that I think a lot of the AI tools that are, creating now don't really have it. It's like you might create a voice, but it sounds like a studio. But if it's supposed to be outside, like you need depth in the background. You need like cars passing or white noise, something that's not like isolated. So, I'm getting real micro now on that stuff, but I totally hear you on that.
Yeah, really cool. My fifth tool, is actually not a tool. It's mainly a platform. It's like Reddit. I use it a lot. We at the company Fight Club also use it a lot. It was in the beginning very good to also do some geo, like some optimizing to rank your brand, for example, because it was affecting these LLMs if you have like a lot of comments on specific threads on Reddit. I feel like right now the effectiveness of this little hack is already dropping because, of course, these LLMs also see what's going on, that people are writing a lot of content that doesn't make sense below these threads. But in general, it's a super platform to get first insights on these new engines, also to know a lot of new automation that can be beneficial for companies or for marketing. So I use it very often. I don't know what's your view on it.
I love Reddit. I mean, I love it for the inspiration too, because there's a lot of it's like a lot of creative people on there that they're not in the creative field, but they're just creative. And it's like, to me, I love that they don't have sort of, it's nice to see someone who hasn't been in the space before putting their work out there because they haven't been sort of boxed in by clients or boxed in by the idea of I can do this or I can't do that. just make their ideas. So I love taking sort of inspiration from there, but also that, it was really smart to get in on that and try to do the AI SEO engine type, marketing strategy, because it was blatantly obvious with tools like Perplexity when they came out, and they were, basically sourcing the information straight from sites. And it's like, if you were ranking, like, that's awesome. Same thing with ChatGPT with their annotating of sources. So if you're coming up in there and there's billions of people using it every day, like, it couldn't be a better place to be found. So it was only a matter of time before someone figured that out.
Yeah, indeed.
We're marketers. We do everything.
Yeah. And they saw it fairly quickly. That
Yeah.
Like 70% of Perplexity's inputs and replies was pulled from Reddit right away. And then you got this weird, brands in there. Also, some people were able to push their brand that was just created 1 day ago to the top answer in Perplexity. So
I love that stuff though. That makes me so happy when people figure that out.
Yeah.
And it's like these little treasure chests that they just open and like, oh yeah, that's a win. So hey, that's, to each their own. That's really, to me, that's really smart. Whoever figures that out the first time, it's just like a really intuitive way of thinking about marketing. There's going to be more like that. I remember seeing the first time in a custom GPT that every answer would be like sponsored by this.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? I was like, come on. I thought this was going to remain like a advertising free zone for at least a couple months, but no, it's everywhere.
Yeah, they always find a way. And
yeah.
I think it's cool because it also keeps these new startups really sharp, because they see, oh, we got a flaw there, we need to fix it. Yeah. And the community is always there to highlight this. Like, here is a small hole where we can go through and exploit it, and that's fun to see.
It's amazing. This is, as a marketer, being on the internet a lot enough too, you just like, you appreciate when people find the loopholes.
Yeah.
Because it's like your little meal ticket for a couple days and then it goes away. But you had that one day or those couple weeks and it was working and it was awesome that you found it. So I'm a big fan of that stuff.
Really nice. And these were the 5 tools that we are mainly using as clients at Fight Club. But I don't know if you have other tools that you say this is really missing on the list, or some things that you are using that are really beneficial for clients and to work even faster.
Totally. I just, as like a personal one, I've recommended it to so many, and probably a lot of people know these, just any sort of call recording software. Like, I love Fireflies for what it does for me. I personally think it has intangible values beyond just being able to like transcribe your calls. Like, I can sit there and listen to a client now, like, or a sales call, and not have to worry about taking the notes and missing things because I'm not listening to them. I'm writing and like, oh, that's important, let me write it. So to me, that like brings like a more face-to-face conversation. You could feel like someone's engaged. They're not just writing and like taking notes on you, but then that stuff can be ported with N8N and you can build workflows around that.
Yeah.
But we also, like, an interesting new use case around that, this might be more so on the sales side for agencies, but we shaped a lot of our outbound marketing based on our transcripts from Fireflies. So we would take all of our call data, sort of homogenize it into, synthesized sort of grouping of questions that people asked us, how many times they asked us the questions, which ones ranked the most. So like, when we knew we had the most questions of something and it was a pretty wide margin, we're like, that's an outbound marketing strategy for us on the B2B side. So there's a lot of things you can do with that sales data. We looked at that call data, took those calls, sort of analyzed the tone. You have the tone analysis in there, and when things start to sound like they're either negative or positive, basically revised our entire sales script based on that data. So there's, might seem like a call transcriber, but there's a lot of things you can do with that data. So I really like that tool and finding other uses for it.
Yeah, but it's really cool that you're also collecting all the data, because in fact, it is so much data that you're missing in these calls, because you're like paying attention to what the client is saying. You're already thinking about new ideas. You're brainstorming at the meantime, but they're giving data, things they don't like. And if you see it very recurring, you can find a solution for it, that it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, like, even just pulling like the next steps that are coming from there and having that being able to be ported into something like Monday, or, again, there's so many intangible things. I know this is from the agency world too, right? Like, you have someone who's account manager on a client, on all the client calls. Maybe they go away for a week on vacation, that someone else has to step in and take those calls. And oftentimes notes and like where things were are maybe not as detailed as they need to be. We all have that problem. I have that problem, right? So it's like a way to have this really detailed tracking system as a back end too, is to be like, so someone can jump in and be prepared to talk. Like not just, oh, they wanted to talk on Tuesday and we have to get them this, but it's like missing all the context. So it's, I think like these little intangible things operationally, like really helpful. I'm sorry for waxing poetic about fireflies, but I love it.
Yeah, it's also one that is super forgotten. Like, the first tool that I said, just implementing ChatGPT or Gemini inside of your Google scripts. These ones are so simple, overlooked, and people don't, they forgot how much time you can save by just having an AI making all these notes, making a recap email, and also in adding your GPT to your sheets, do all the calculations for you, write new copies in there right away that you just need to do some manual checks on. So really cool to see that these quite often forgotten little players are also being mentioned.
I need to talk to I need to find like a contact at Fireflies and be like, I've been loving you guys for so long, never even spoken before. But that tool is like, if anyone asks me, that's probably the tool that I used as much as the creative tools. So it's a lifesaver for me.
Really cool. All right. Yeah, I think that's most of the tools that we are using. Thanks a lot for joining me in this podcast. It was really fun to also learn some stuff for you and to hear the good things about Fireflies. I should reinstall it. I had it in the past, but it was also quite expensive.
It definitely gets expensive.
By the time that it saves you, I think it's still beneficial.
100%.
So we'll have another look and
Well, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it. I'm going to steal that Google Sheet idea too.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. Thanks.
And that's facts. If you take one thing from this conversation, let it be this. You don't need to be the biggest player in the market to outsmart and outperform. If you're ready to stop playing by the giants' rules and start writing your own, we're here to help. Visit us at fightclubagency.com/pact to get packed with the full show's notes and download our one-page strategy blueprint. Or follow us at Fight Club Agency on Instagram for our daily tips and tricks. Until next time, for new insights on how to outsmart and outperform.